All right, welcome to the Explainer. You ever stop and think about how Linux manages to keep track of, well, everything? Today we're going to do just that. We're taking a guided tour to pull back the curtain on one of its most crucial parts, the file system. Let's dive in.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Your computer is juggling millions, maybe even billions of files. You've got your documents, your apps, your photos, the whole shebang. Without some kind of system, it would just be pure chaos, right? So how on earth does it keep from getting completely lost? Well, the answer is actually pretty elegant. It uses a map, a master plan, you could say. That's called the file system. This thing tells the computer exactly where every single piece of data is, how it's stored, and how to grab it in a split second.
Okay, so before we jump into our tour of this, let's call it a digital city, we really need to understand the blueprint first. I mean, what is a file system anyway?
So at its heart, a file system is basically the rulebook, the set of structures that the operating system uses to handle all your data. And its job is really three things: organize everything so you can find it, store it safely, and pull it back up super fast when you need it. And, maybe most importantly, it makes sure that the file you open is the exact same file you saved. No corruption, no missing pieces. That's data integrity. All right, blueprint understood. Now it's time for the main event. Let's get this tour of the Linux city started. We're going to explore its most important districts, or as we call them in the Linux world, directories. And here it is. This is our map. It's called the File System Hierarchy Standard, or FHS for short. This is pretty much the standard layout for almost any Linux system you'll run into. Now, the first thing you've got to notice is that single / at the very top. Everything, and I mean everything, starts from there. That's the root directory. It's the absolute ground zero for our entire city. Okay, let's explore a few of these districts using that city metaphor. We already know / is the city center, right? Well, then you have /bin. Think of these as the city's tool sheds. They hold all the essential programs that everyone needs to use, like CP to copy things or RM to remove them. Next up is /etc, which is basically City Hall. This is where all the system-wide configuration files live, kind of like the laws and regulations for the whole city. Then there's /home. That one's easy. It's the neighborhoods, the residential district where every user gets their own little house. And /dev? Oh, this one's really cool. Think of it as the utility docs. It's full of these special files that actually represent your physical hardware, your hard drive, your webcam, your mouse. They all live here as files. So we've seen the layout of the city, but what's it actually made of? Let's take a look at the building blocks, because this is where Linux has a really unique and frankly, a really powerful philosophy that makes it so different. So if you're a Windows user, your world is pretty simple, right? You've got files and you've got folders. That's about it. But in the Linux world, well, the vocabulary is a lot richer. Sure, we have what are called regular files, and what you call a folder, we call a directory. But then you've got all this other cool stuff like links, which are way more than just shortcuts, and even these special file types like sockets and FIFOs, which are basically channels for programs to communicate with each other. And all of this leads to one of the most important core ideas in all of Linux. Pretty much everything is treated as a file. That webcam in the dev directory? It's a file. The directories themselves? Yeah, they're just special files that contain a list of other files. It sounds a little weird at first, but this consistency is what makes Linux so incredibly powerful. You can use the same set of tools to work with almost anything on the entire system. Let's talk about those links for a second. Okay, so imagine every piece of data on your hard drive has a unique ID number. We call this an inode. Now, a hard link is like giving that data a second name. It points directly to that same ID number, that same inode. The link and the original file, they're basically identical twins. But a symbolic link, or a soft link, is different. It's more like a Windows shortcut. It doesn't point to the data's ID number. It just points to the name of the other file. Okay, so we've got our map. We know what the building blocks are. But how do we actually, get around? How do we interact with this city? Well, for that, you need to speak the local language. And that language is the command line. Look, graphical interfaces are great. They're super convenient. But trust me, the command line, or the shell as it's called, that's where the real power of Linux is hiding. It's your direct hotline to the operating system. It's precise, it's powerful, and honestly, once you get the hang of it, it is way, way faster than clicking around a bunch of menus. So let's learn a few basic phrases to get you started. First, ls, that's for list. It just shows you what's in the directory you're currently in. Then there's CD, which stands for Change Directory. That's how you move from one part of the city to another. CP is for copy, and RM is for remove. Seriously, with just these 4 commands, you have the absolute foundation you need to start navigating the city and managing your files.
Okay, so now you can get around, but this city is huge. It's vast. What happens when you lose something? Well, don't worry. Let's look at how you can find anything you need using the system's own built-in search engines.
You've basically got 2 main tools here. First up is Find. I like to think of this one as the detective. It will literally walk through every single street and alley you pointed at, searching for files based on their name, size, who owns them, you name it. It is super thorough, but because of that, it can be a little slow. Then you've got Locate, which is the librarian. Instead of walking the streets, it just goes to its index, its card catalog, and looks up where the file is. The result? It is blazing fast. The only catch is that it's only as accurate as its index, which needs to be updated every now and then.
But wait, what if you're not looking for a file name? What if you're looking for a specific word inside a file? Ah, for that, you have grep. Think of grep as your personal content librarian. It can scan thousands of documents in the blink of an eye to find the exact word or phrase you're looking for. It's an absolutely essential tool.
And just like that, our tour is over. We've looked at the blueprint, we've explored the main districts, we've even learned a little bit of the language and how to use the search tools. You now have the map and the basic skills to start navigating the world of Linux with some real confidence. So the only question left is, where are you going to explore next?